Hi, it's Sean, and you're listening to The 3-Month Vacation. Since 2012, I've kept a meticulous diary. Well, 2 diaries. One diary is lavishly drawn in watercolors and on paper. The second one, however, has photos and searchable text. This means I can go back in time and find all the instances of jet lag. Yes, this is the 3-month vacation, and we have to cover jet lag at some point in time. So here we go. We've traveled to many places across the world, and curiously, we've never had jet lag. Not in Amsterdam, not in Buenos Aires, Hanoi, Mumbai, Paris, or Singapore. And not even in Sweden. Why Sweden in particular? About 7 years ago, I was invited to speak at a conference in Sweden. And I'm going to give you travel details, so there are going to be lots of numbers. Bear with me for a while. It's important. This is what the trip looked like. Our house is about an hour from the airport. We get to the airport about 3 hours in advance. The flight from Auckland to Singapore was about 10 hours and 15 minutes. The next flight isn't to any place in Sweden, but rather next door to Denmark. And this takes us another 12 hours and 35 minutes. Another stopover, and then it's time finally to get to Stockholm. But it's 2 hours before we get to our room. Roughly speaking, that's about 35 and a half hours of travel time. And the very next day, I was scheduled to make a presentation. Now, the organizers knew that I'd come a long distance, and instead of a 9 o'clock presentation, it was somewhere around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Except that 2 p.m. Swedish time happens to be 2 a.m. New Zealand time. So why am I telling you all of this? We were exhausted. There was a 12-hour time difference. I even had a cold. But one factor was missing. Neither of us had jet lag. And the reason why we didn't have jet lag is because we behaved like tourists. When a tourist gets to another country, they step into the hotel, they dump their bags, and within a reasonable time, that tourist goes out and explores. They might take a short nap, but there's no time to waste. There's unusual food to eat and places to see and things to do. When that day is done, that tourist may fall to pieces and crawl into bed after sunset. But they've kept themselves busy all day long, and this is the key to avoiding jet lag. It's to be like a tourist. According to my diary, we've only ever had jet lag in New Zealand. It doesn't matter whether we've flown east or west, the result is exactly the same. At one point, we even took some anti-jet lag pills, hoping they would help, but the jet lag still set in. And that's because we're not in tourist mode when we get back home. We don't go out, we don't explore the city, we certainly don't eat at a restaurant, and more importantly, we sleep because we're tired from the trip. If we behaved like tourists, we'd keep ourselves up through the day and crash from sheer exhaustion at night. But what if you don't want to overcome jet lag? Let's say you're part of the air crew and you're flying from Singapore to New Zealand. In 48 hours, you have to get back into that time zone. And the air crew, they sleep and they wake up during Singapore time while in New Zealand, so that their sleep is not disrupted when they get back. On the other hand, we sleep when we're tired, and that's why it can take at least a week before you get over jet lag. What's the answer to jet lag? Be a tourist. When you land at home, go visit someone, go out for lunch, even if you're exhausted. Then, as the sun sets, go to sleep. And you're unlikely to have jet lag. The diary, it seems, never lies. And that brings us to the end of this podcast and almost to the end of 2024. When we got back from Paris, France, we had jet lag. Because after our flight landed at around 12 o'clock, we came home and then we slept. And of course, we were up early that morning. And I've started to enjoy waking up at 2 a.m. and then reading until 4:30. But it starts to get annoying after a few days. In any case, this is just a theory. I think it is a good theory, but let me know what you think. What did we do in France? Well, you're going to find out next week when we cover that on the last podcast for the year. Bye for now.